We the people unite.
Hey everybody, welcome. We the people unite, and it's Wednesday. So welcome to our flagship broadcast. How's everybody? Say hey.
Hey.
And everybody who's joining us in the chat, say hey.
Hey.
We love to talk to you. So as usual, there's a lot going on. But today, I wanted to take a step back a little bit because I feel like we are definitely a nation in mourning. And when I say that, I'm not just talking about the 2 American lives that were taken in the streets in full view, and others who have died in custody, out of sight, behind walls meant to protect. We know the families are grieving and communities are shaken, but we are mourning more than just lives. So we are mourning the erosion of our democracy, where the use of power is no longer met with equal accountability. We are mourning justice, when the law appears to bend depending on who's affected or who's protected. You know, we're mourning our shared humanity, when loss is dismissed, explained away, or turned into politics before it's even honored. And we're mourning the quiet weakening of moral leadership at home and in the eyes of the world. But something else is happening alongside that grief, something I didn't think I'd see right now, and that's leaders across party lines are finally beginning to question how power is being used, how the stories are being told, and whether accountability still matters. So, as a nation in mourning's becoming what I called a bipartisan reckoning is what I'm hoping we're seeing. So before we get to the videos, I just want to get everybody's thought on that theme, and what are you feeling this week?
Well, they said they arrested 17 people in Minneapolis today, and all of them got arrest records now, and they'll always be on their records. And so Kristi Noem is who did that today. They said they had settled down things in the city, but they didn't. They've gotten worse.
I feel like we are at a precipice once again, one that's going to change how this goes one way or the other. Because of the gun issue and how they're flipping on that with the Second Amendment issue. But I do believe we are. That's exactly what I'm doing. Is I didn't realize it until you started talking about it, when I seen the thumbnail, because it is a morning of justice. It's a morning of um, knowing for a fact that things are unequal under the law, and that only in certain people only certain things matter. So it's it's disheartening, but it's also kind of scary because you don't know at any given time when it's going to affect you directly and how you're going to handle it. And I could be dead just like that nurse, just like Alex Preddy or Renee Good.
Can we put Jazzy? Hey Jazzy, can we put Jazzy's comment back up? That one too, Andrea. I think we're only at a halt because American citizens died. What do you guys think about that?
I think because they're white and they're American citizens, and I'm so sorry to say that. I feel guilty about that, but I do believe it matters because if you think back to, is it Schwerner, Cheney, and can't get the other name out, but the one that Mississippi Burning was made about, and but a lot of big deal was made, and it was a precipice again in the civil rights movement. But it was because two young men, one Jewish, I believe the other one might have just been regular Christian, and a black young man, and they all got murdered down there. But they brought the people in the news there mainly and they wouldn't even let them be buried in the same cemetery, but they died helping us with the civil rights, help ourselves.
I think it's not just that they're white. I think that Alex Preddy being a man, a white because
Is Keisha talking?
yeah, can you not hear me?
Go ahead.
I think it's a lot
I
about
think you're muted, Keisha.
No, she's
Oh,
not.
we can hear.
Oh,
We
I
can
can't
hear
hear.
her.
I'm sorry.
I think it's a lot about Alex Preddy being a white male and white men having the ultimate they're the demographic of all of us who have the benefit the most from the way that our country is set up. And for them to see a white male be killed by the government probably shook a lot of people. I was like, holy shit, it can happen to us. Like, it's one thing for it to happen to a black person, it's one thing for it to happen to a white woman, but a white man, I think that really woke some white men up because there's still misogyny in this country. So even though Renee Good is white, she's still a woman. They can still find ways to excuse her death. But a white man who was ostensibly doing all the things that you're supposed to do, like you're protecting women who are being harmed by the government, and you were directing traffic, and you weren't doing anything else wrong.
I agree with you, Keisha, because they dismiss Renee Good because of her gayness. They dismiss her because of her lover, and she's a woman. So you're right, Keisha. She had no backing, but because it happened to a white man that was the epitome of being a man in this country, they really focus on him, and they even tried to disparage him. And what happened? It backfired.
Do you also think it's because it was videotaped from so many different angles that there was no way they could deny it? Because they tried, right?
Well, that's what, once again, that's what they used to do to black people and people of color. And back in the day, say they did something or made a move, and it was like Rodney King was one of the first ones to break that. And it's just been getting more and more. And now we all have a camera in our hand. And I do think that makes a big difference because people are like, you keep lying, and we've seen it from every angle. Nothing what you said matches. And so they're insulted. And even when I was on a very conservative page last night reading the comments, they were all like, "This enough's enough." It was very, very promising.
Well, the public might have cared, but ICE didn't.
No, they counted the bullet holes.
And laughed.
So that's what I'm wondering, because they tried
Maybe,
to
yeah.
change the story. They tried to change the narrative, but they couldn't because there was evidence.
I think
And
it's
even regular, go ahead.
I think it's both because there was a video with Renee Good, and there were still people trying to say that she tried to run over the officer. All of us who are not lying know that she didn't try to run over the officer.
Right.
Clear.
Right.
But people who want to find reasons to excuse what ICE did said no, she was trying to run over the officer. She shouldn't have been there. She shouldn't have tried to interfere with ICE's doing their duty.
There was even someone today trying really hard to twist that. Well, do you think maybe his gun went off and they thought, well, maybe, I mean, Jesus, really? Really?
One of him and like 5 to 7 of them.
Well, first of all, if his gun had went off, since he never handled it, it would have shot him in the ass.
Well, they did. They did shoot him in the back. So it's correct that he was shot. He was on his knees, cowering, and no one's talking about that. That those ICE agents shot him in his back. He was so how could he brandish a gun? And you actually saw it was Newsmax that the newscaster was saying, "Oh, look at this! Look, he did this, and then he said, "Oh, it's just my phone." You know, words matter, and to disparage someone, I pray it never happens to you.
Yeah. Well, it certainly got all the 2A folks up in arms.
Okay.
Which is a lot of MAGA. right? Let's I do want to play this clip because it's from one of the witnesses. I'm not sure if you have seen this, but I want to play this, a little bit of this. It's long.
Knew he was gone because I watched it. And then they come over to try to perform some type of medical aid by ripping his clothes open with scissors and then maneuvering his body around like a rag doll, only to discover that it could be because they wanted to count the bullet wounds to see how many they got, like he's a deer. I watched that, and that is what it felt like they were doing. And that is part of why I was like, what are you guys doing? Why would you jostle his body around like that? You're not even doing anything to help him. But I knew he was gone.
Well, for days, she's been called the woman in the pink coat, and she captured the crucial video showing exactly what happened when Alex Preddy was shot and killed by DHS officers. She had not come forward until today, and her name, which is being revealed for the first time, is Stella Carlson. She's a children's entertainer. She runs a children's entertainment company. She's a face and body painter and an airbrush artist. All of it a world away from anything she or anyone could possibly imagine. You knew he was gone then?
I knew he was gone. There was no way with the way his body was moving, and I only knew that because of the way they were manipulating his dead body, just playing with it. Like they're in a video game. They were looking at us and laughing.
After the shooting?
Yes. I mean, the reason of escalation was due to the mockery. We understand why the MPD is unable to intervene on a level we would like. But you would like to think that their kindness, compassion, looking us in the eyes would occur in these moments when we're being attacked in the streets. And the MPD just felt like they were part of that team at that moment. And maybe that, I'm not talking about the whole
Were
department,
Minneapolis
but
Police Department people on the scene?
once the yellow tape was up, there were MPD officers who were standing in line, 5 of them, I think, and they wouldn't look at us. Everyone just kept saying, just look at us. You're our representatives. You work for us. Why won't you look at us? Like a part of our community just was murdered in the street. Like, you're our Minneapolis Police Department. Why won't you even just look at us to give us solidarity? You know, when we walk around with the whistles around our neck, it's not that we have, like, we know we can't do much. But what we do know is that we can let our community at large know when we're walking around, like, I see you. And if you're stuck in your apartment, I want you to see me. I'm another person walking around who is here to protect you as best I can with my whistle and my phone, which really feels not great.
And yet, you stood there with a phone and you documented this. You didn't run away.
I am not one to run when I'm afraid. I just, no way was I going to leave Alex by himself, undocumented. Like, that wasn't an option. I mean, obviously somebody was just executed in the street. I knew I was in danger. We all were, but I wasn't going to leave if we weren't all cleared out. And if it wasn't for the collective actions over the past 3 weeks, I don't know if I would have been able to stay that long. But I knew that this was a moment, and we all have to be brave, and we all have to take risks, and we're all going to be given moments to make that decision. And I guess in my default mind of crisis there, that's where mine fell. And I'm grateful to myself, and I'm grateful to anybody who was supportive to me after, to make sure I could get to safety and get that video uploaded to the right people.
The federal government says that they are investigating what happened. Have you been contacted by anyone from the federal government? FBI?
No, I have
Border
not.
Patrol, Homeland Security?
I do have a legal team now who are fielding much of that, and I am no longer accessible in those ways.
I talked to your attorney this morning. She said
Stop
she had
here. Let's stop here. I just don't want to take away from very emotional. Very emotional. I just thank God for those people who kept recording.
Mm-hmm. Very brave.
Yeah.
Very
That
brave.
is courage. That is pure courage.
People kept saying, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to see it again. I told my family, I was sitting around, I said, look at it. I said, because it's real. And if it shows up at the door, we got to look at it. We can't turn our heads. I don't want to look at it either, but I had to watch it. and I had to watch it from each angle a couple of times so I could see. And I'm just so disgusted. You can't do anything right. That's the problem I have. If you put your hands up, if you don't have it, if you do have it, if you, it doesn't matter what you do. It just depends on what mood the people are in, the ICE officers are in when they come and confront you.
I just want to go ahead.
I was just going to say she talks about that when she's talking to Anderson. She says that that's why she got out of her car, because when she got to that area, there were ICE agents around her, and she couldn't. She was thinking about Renee Good, and she was like, "Do I get out of my car? Do I stop? Do I park? What do I do?" She was scared, and so she just decided to get out of her car. And Alex actually directed her on where to park. Like, that was the interaction that they had with each other. They didn't know each other aside from that. And so this is a community that's already been traumatized, and just trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. Like this, it's got to stop.
Sidebar. It's kind of interesting that, and I'm going to give Don Lemon his props to being that man on the street. Now, everybody, like an Anderson Cooper, is now trying to be that man on the street, getting interviews. Go ahead, Don. We give you the props.
Yep.
Anderson used to be in the trenches, and then he went back in the house.
He did.
Yeah.
He's been out there.
Yeah.
I'm just so. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm just so so at a loss for. It's rare for me to be at a loss for words, but how to just articulate just the mood and the way things are going. And I just think I do think things are shifting toward the better, but we've got to stop the blatant lying, and we're going to have more. I mean, I know that mainstream media doesn't want to push back, but if they're going to be interviewing these people, we have to demand that they push back and start getting this representation, because they definitely taking my money.
Yeah. And there's more out there. Let me play a little bit of Chris Hayes. Anybody watch Chris Hayes?
All right, Chris Hayes.
So all of a sudden, our media is getting out from behind the desk and going out. Although Chris Hayes does more so than others.
Good evening from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm Chris Hayes, and I am here tonight on Nicollet Avenue. That's the site of the brutal killing of a United States citizen by his own government. And we're here on Nicollet Avenue, just a few hundred feet from a group of mourners who were just singing hymns. We're here outside in the brutal cold, and it's brutal because history is being made here in Minnesota. It's being made by the people who live here and who refuse day by day to give in or to give up. In the aftermath of that shooting that just happened over my shoulder, it's become clear in the last few days that something is shifting, not just here in Minnesota, but across the country. And when the record of this era is written down, what has happened here is likely to play some decisive role in what kind of country we have on the other side of all this. What happened here in Minneapolis over the last few weeks, as is so often the case in history, is tragic. A masked man took the life of a 37-year-old mother of three and poet, Renee Good. She was shot to death at point-blank range by an agent of her own government. And then this weekend, took the life of Alex Preddy, also 37, an ICU nurse who was shot repeatedly by agents of his own government in the back as he was prone on the ground. Good and Preddy knew there was risk in what they were doing. They knew it. I mean, certainly Alex Preddy did 2 weeks after Renee Good was shot, but they did it anyway, and they died protecting their neighbors. I think their names are going to be in the ledger of this country's most elemental struggles. Decades from now, people will know their names, they will be known and celebrated, there will be memorials to them, and they will rightly be remembered as martyred to our union. But what's remarkable is that they are just two out of hundreds, thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of ordinary people who have mobilized in this moment, clear-eyed about the risks, which could not be clearer, to stand shoulder and shoulder with their neighbors and protect them against the predations of their own government, which is supposed to protect them. It is clear, just in the day that I've been here, these are not just protests. This is a standoff. And here's the thing, improbably, it seems to be working. the Trump administration is desperately backpedaling as the backlash against what we have seen on these streets grows far beyond this city and cable news channels. The Border Patrol commander in charge, Greg Bovino, is now out. He's headed home to California along with many of his agents. A new border czar has arrived, Tom Homan, who's here now. Apparently the grown-up sent him by Trump, who said the words tonight, "We're going to de-escalate a little bit."
You know, Bovino is very good, but he's a pretty out there kind of a guy. And in some cases, that's good. Maybe it wasn't good here. And that's all working out. You know, we have Tom Homan there now. We put him in there. He's great. And they met with the governor, the mayor, everybody else. And we're going to de-escalate a little bit.
We're going to de-escalate a little bit. Does it mean anything? Is it a start? We hope it's a start. There's more to go. Democrats and even Republicans now on Capitol Hill are calling for investigations into DHS and to ICE and to the shooting of Alex Preddy, as Democrats consider a partial government shutdown to block ICE funding. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries told MS Now Today that Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem needs to be fired or be impeached.
House Democrats have called for her to be fired immediately. And in the event that she is not terminated, we are prepared to initiate impeachment proceedings against her in the House of Representatives.
Now that's Hakeem Jeffries. But here's Republican Senator Tom Tillis tonight, quote, "I think what she's done in Minnesota should be disqualified. She should be out of a job. She needs to go." Again, all of this is happening because ordinary people have chosen to do something extraordinary. And ordinary people doing the extraordinary is the alchemy of democracy. It all comes down to that, right? The fate of the nation depends on it. And they're still standing up. There has been no break. We rode around today with some folks who were out looking for ICE.
Let me stop that there because he goes on about that. Thoughts?
He said, "I'm glad to see Chris is out of the office and out there in the streets and looking around and, you know, making it more personal." And like he said, we don't know what comes out of their mouth. If there's going to be any action. So I'm not going to weigh in on that, but I don't expect anything much to change. Homan is, he needs to go get his paper bag with his $50,000 on it and take it on back to the house because he ain't no better than the other one. But I guess we'll take what we can get at this point. And then you got your Megyn Kellys out there that is saying god awful stuff. Something is wrong with that woman, and I'm very disgusted. And there's a big swath of people that's still thinking like her, and she's putting him in the vein of the murders, like the making them the ICE the victims. And so I'm hearing all this stuff, and I don't know. It's going to have to start at the top. Let's just put it like that. It's got to start at the top, and Donald's going to have to straighten up and say something and do it.
He's definitely responsible for all this. Can't take him out of it until you get him to leave. That's what I want. Just get out of there.
Well, Donald Trump has got his people in Georgia trying to say that the election was stolen from him in 2020, so he's still messed up in the head.
That's right, I heard that.
He had a few hecklers he had dragged out of his little rally, but he's disgusting. I just don't even know what we're gonna do about this whole thing. But at least they talking about impeaching in the House. But how about we go ahead and impeach, and then if they don't fire her, then we can go ahead and get it started. That way we can get this show on the road because she got to go.
Donald Trump was the one that told them that they needed to do more, that they weren't doing enough, that they weren't being violent enough. He said that in an interview.
I think the NRA called him today and some other people, and Stephen Miller, he threw Stephen Miller under a Mack truck today.
Well,
because he's trying to separate himself.
Noam threw them both under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that? Yeah. So there's a lot of infighting going on right now.
I like that.
Love to see it.
Fighting.
Yes.
Couldn't happen to a better group of people.
Fight for you, bitches.
You kumquat, you liquor.
I just wanted to highlight, because obviously there's been a lot of talk about the two people who were basically executed in front of us this week. But I just want to remind everybody, and we did a segment on this, I'm not sure, a few weeks ago, Andrea, I believe it was yours, that in 2025, there were a record number, at least 32 people died while in custody.
That's
right?
right. There
Right.
were.
And now in early 2026, multiple people have already died in the detention centers, and at least 4 detainees dying in the first weeks of the year. So those are not getting any media coverage at all. It's just,
Neither is Cuba, and what we're doing there, trying to cut their oil off to starve them people out over there. They're not thinking about the civilians; they're thinking about the government. And I got a feeling Marco Rubio, that's what he wants. And I understand why the Cubans want certain things, but they got to think about the people too. And they want to go over there, and of course, it's got prime real estate. They want to get the casinos going back. I go to Havana, and all that kind of stuff. So it's
Well,
all.
since we got the president of Venezuela, that's what Monica was talking about yesterday, that we haven't had any more boat bombings.
yeah, funny how that works. Huh?
Very interesting.
So Chris Hayes was talking about some of the backlash and some of the Republicans coming out. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. So Senator Susan Collins, Republican from Maine, says this raises serious questions, and there needs to be a full and transparent investigation when American lives are lost during federal enforcement actions. Lisa Murkowski, Alaska. When people die during enforcement operations, Americans deserve clear answers about what happened and why. Bill Cassidy, Louisiana. Law enforcement authority has to be paired with restraint and accountability, especially when the outcome is the loss of life. Tillis, there are inconsistencies that need to be addressed, and the facts should be independently reviewed. Rand Paul, federal agencies should not be above scrutiny, and due process matters, even during enforcement actions. Bill Scott, Vermont, transparency and accountability are essential. And it goes, there's a few. So you get my drift. Does that matter?
We can see it. I don't know what there is to investigate.
Does it matter?
Boom, boom.
With Susan Collins, does it matter when she had 9 members of the clergy arrested at her Portland office who were protesting ICE? That woman
Didn't
talks
mean
out both
it.
sides of her mouth.
Yeah,
I didn't mean it, Keisha.
she's worthless.
She needs to go. They need to not vote that woman in again.
Mm-hmm.
She's swerving down. She purple, but she's not. She red as they come. She got a little twinge of stain on a little purple stain on her dress. That's about it.
Yeah. I am glad to hear them stand out publicly. I am, instead of repeating the lie. Right?
That is true.
Because that is what a lot of them could or would do. So I am very happy about that. But this is where I think we need to really sit back and say, you know what? We are a nation in mourning. We are a nation that's grieving, because we're witnessing these horrific events. And it affects us, I think, more emotionally and psychologically than we probably understand at this point. So, and the point was, it's not just about the deaths of these people. It's about everything that surrounds it. It's about the injustice. It's about the lies. It's about the corruption you were talking about, all of our rights being just, and all of a sudden, this is why the 2A people are up in arms. Well, you shouldn't be able to carry a gun.
Well, this is going to go on as long as the public does not come out. And there are more of us than there are them. And just like they said, slavery, until the slaves got tired and fought back, that's when, we finally did something about it. But it's enough of us to stop this.
Yeah, and we're going to have to. So that's a great segue. You couldn't have said it better. Let's listen to Rachel.
Protest I've ever been to, every protest I've ever covered, As long as it's a protest that's happening in the English language, everyone I've ever been to or seen, somebody at some point starts up the chant, "This is what democracy looks like," right? We've all heard that so much. It has become like protest wallpaper. It almost feels like generic sentiment, right? This is what democracy looks like. But it is literally true. It is what democracy looks like. Peaceful protest is a core part of democratic action, small d democratic action. And the unromantic, strong, simple truth of the matter is that in our country right now, every small d democratic muscle that we have is flexing. And it turns out that that's way stronger than Donald Trump and way stronger than the worst designs of the Trump administration. United, persistent, earnest, creative, peaceful protests that have not relented for a minute in Minneapolis, right? Everybody from clergy to professional sports teams, to unions, to school parent groups, to school kids themselves, to indivisible groups, to Native American activists, to people who had never previously protested a single thing in their lives. I mean, every day, nevertheless, protesting, demonstrating, telling Trump's agents to get out, never giving them a moment's peace. Spontaneous, instinctual, and then ultimately organized mutual aid, community support, alerting people to the presence of federal agents, walking people's kids to and from school, dropping off groceries to families too afraid for good reason to get out of their house, doing know your rights trainings everywhere, responding in person when people are being attacked or taken, not being afraid when Trump's masked agents turn those very things into life-threatening confrontations, or being afraid but still doing it anyway. And from the ground up, that huge effort by regular people in Minneapolis and people supporting them all around the country, it set everything in motion. And now we are seeing what's called political pushback that is so widespread and that is so relentless and that is so strong, there is no resisting it, even if you say don't believe in democracy. Local elected officials encouraging the peaceful protests, asking people to keep recording everything they can about the behavior of these lawless paramilitaries. You then see local elected officials out among the people. I mean, this was Governor Tim Walz and his wife at a vigil for Renee Good. This past Friday, Senator Amy Klobuchar and her husband at the huge peaceful protests in Minneapolis. We're going to speak with Senator Klobuchar in just a moment. I mean, you have democratic force massed on one side of this issue. And on the other side, they have guns and tear gas and physical brutality and menace and their propaganda about how terrible immigrants are and how terrible, how everybody's against them as a communist or whatever. I mean, that's what they've got. They've got physical force, weapons, menace, and propaganda. That's what they've got on their side. But there is massed, committed, small d democratic force of great resolve against that on the other. And guess which side wins? And so after they killed Alex Preddy on Saturday, we very quickly saw it all fall apart for them. Not because somebody defeated them in physical battle, right? They're the ones who are geared up like the way they're going to win, the way they're going to overthrow this democracy is in some kind of war, right? They can just have just the right military gear and just the right threatening, physical, intimidating force. That'll be how they win, right? That's how they think they'll win, with guns. The people of this country, on the other side, the opponents of that overthrow, the population of this country that is committed to, no kings, and there never being a dictator here, they know that the way they're going to win is not with guns, it's not in a war. The people on the other side of this fight, they know the way they're going to save American democracy is by using American democratic means to do so. And that means protest and speech and political power. After months of protest, what happened when they killed Alex Preddy? There was a small d democratic flex against which the Trump administration just crumbled.
Where's my mouse? There it is.
Hmm.
Thoughts on what she just said?
I pray she's right. She's
I
more
think
hopeful than I am.
I think she is right. Um, I, I did lose a little bit of hope when Renee Good was killed. But I think with Alex Preddy being murdered, I think that actually does represent an inflection point. Um, and to Momo's husband's point about it's going to be a long fight for our freedoms, I understand that it seems like we've been living in this forever because we have had Trump in our lives in this way for the past 10 years. And it's been a long fucking 10 years.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we are nearing the end of this battle. And it has been really heartening to see how Minnesota has fought back, how LA has fought back, how Chicago has fought back, how all of these people, regular people, have come together to protect each other, to care for each other, to push back and create change. Because it really is all of us together can make a difference. Not to sound like a freaking ad, or a PSA, but I do believe that's the case. When
Teamwork
when
make the
we
dream work.
have ICE, like they have machine guns that are pointed at a group of people. It's one man who's angry, can't control his anger, is mad at someone because they may have said something that he didn't like. Is that's his weapon. And all these people are holding our whistles and like, I don't know, coffee, and they're so threatened by us. Like that tells you right there who has the power. We do.
Donald Trump is a bully, and that's all he does. He bullies people, and the other people do his dirty work. But when you fight back, bullies run.
Gotta fight, keep fighting. Everybody's fighting back. I'm so proud of Minnesota. Y'all fighting very well, very nicely.
Pretty amazing people. Yeah.
And when they did the thing where they walked out of their jobs over the weekend, had all those people. Oh man.
Oh, and we're not alone. I want to point out, you made me think about people from Hong Kong have been reaching out to Minnesota protesters and giving them tips on how to disarm like the tear gas bombs. Like it's not just us. Like we have other fighters who are in our corner.
Absolutely. I see posts from Canada saying, hey, we're here, we support you.
Yeah.
You need an emotional support Canadian, we're here. Denmark, same thing. You know, they know
London.
they know that over 75 million people voted against this.
That's why I'm so glad that they know that.
They do. They do. I wanted to play a little bit from Governor Walz before we move on.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Governor Walz met with the White House Border's Tom Homan today, who was dispatched to Minneapolis in the wake of Saturday's fatal shooting. It's the governor's first television interview since Alex Preddy was killed. I appreciate you being here. I'm sorry to make you stand out in the cold, but I guess you're used
Minnesota.
to it. Yeah. First of all, the meeting with Tom Homan, how did that go? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Tom Homan's a professional, which is a lot more than Bovino and Kristi Noem. But look, I think the thing we said is we're very clear about this, that we need these folks out of Minnesota, and we need justice for Renee Good and for Alex, and those were things that we came with. I think the thing that I'm most concerned about is the tone was different. There was a tone shift. I wish it was because of the horrific, shooting that somebody saw some morality, but I think it's probably the press. But with that being said, I'm not interested in a more efficient metro surge. I'm ready for them to get out of here, and I think that's what Minnesotans are talking about. So it was progress. Look, I never got a call from Bovino or Noem.
Never.
Nothing. No, nothing. When they're coming here, and Tom Homan landed last night, and he called me last night and asked if he could have a meeting, and he was there at 9:00. So, look, I think that's progress, but they started this fire, so we're not giving anybody credit for putting it out. But right now, what we need a return to normalcy by these ICE agents out of here. And you talked about this in all those meetings with the White House and with Tom Homan and his team. Nobody asked about Alex or his family. So I appreciate you bringing that up. This family going through the horror of losing their son, and then also to see him slandered like that. It's just
not only slandered. I'm slandered by the top officials
yes,
in
the
the
world, the most
administration.
powerful people in the world, and not taking it back. And look, for one whole day, certain news stations, that's all they were running, and that's one of the problems here. Look, Minnesota, they came here. We don't have near the undocumented folks that many other states do. Minnesota's a well-run state. Minnesota's a place where people get along. We welcome immigrant community, and they brought this down on us. And I think you're here, Anderson. You're telling your folks it's a siege. It's a siege in all respects. We have children being pulled from their parents. We have elderly people being drug out in this type of cold with no clothes. It's just absolute cruelty.
I mean, is it in your mind political that they came here to Minnesota?
Yes. There's no other facts for it. They've changed why they're here. Donald Trump himself said, I won that state 3 times. He didn't. And then I get a letter the other day from Pan Bondi demanding our voting records in this. And kind of like, well, we'll send these people out of here if you do that.
But there was an implication of quid pro quo in that.
Oh, exactly. Amateurish, but that's what they're doing. And they're never going to get those. And states control that. 10th Amendment. You're seeing all the contradictions. I appreciate you saying this. 2nd Amendment, 10th Amendment, everything else that is no longer there. But the one thing I can say is that come out of this, and you've seen it, the strength of the people of Minnesota, the decency of Americans, the ability to care for their neighbors, to be out there, that will last a lot longer than this administration. But I just say right now, it's very disheartening to me to see the president say Kristi Noem's doing a great job. I'm not sure there's been anybody more incompetent or cruel that's ever served in a cabinet position than her. And this is on her. And look, we need to know who these people were. We need these guys brought back here.
That's the thing. I mean,
we showed up to do an investigation, and we're not.
Yeah, let's just stop that right there, because they go on, because they're not giving them the names of the agents.
What it made me think was, Holman made me think that the devil could quote scripture too. So he just got a different method.
I see what Jazzy says. Yeah.
There's no return to normalcy.
Mm-hmm. They say it's worse.
And then their rhetoric, you see that I don't think any harm came to her physically, but Ilhan Omar was attacked last night, and with a liquid substance.
Mm-hmm.
But I cracked up because she didn't go the other way. She went for him. She was like, "Come here." I was like, "Oh."
I saw that.
She was like, "Get your ass back here."
Oh my God.
I said, "That's different. That's the Somalian way, I guess."
Yeah. I wanted to show a couple of clips before we kind of close this down, because these are some things we don't see that I found really appalling, but tells us what our fellow citizens have been up against. We've seen a lot of what they're up against, but this is the thinking of these people.
This, brother. What? I will tell you this. You raise your voice, I raise your voice.
If I raise my voice, you'll erase
exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Are you serious? You said if I raise my voice, you'll erase my voice?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I will tell you this.
That's some crazy shit
right there. Got me mixed up. I'd have got shot that day because I'd have been talking straight mess.
Yeah. Listen to his accent.
Exactly.
You have an accent, sir. You are exactly the kind of person that your thug gang likes to pick up.
There's a lot of that going on right now.
Mm-hmm. I need to know why they're working for ICE, because the number of people is it just money? Are they being like blackmailed? Like, what is it?
I think it's money, and they get to beat up people.
They get to take their rage and anger out. Right. They get to cosplay what they've been dreaming about, I think, doing for a long time. I think these are angry men. I think they're angry, violent men who get to do what they love.
I worked in a prison for a long time, and some of the officers, male officers generally, oftentimes thought it was their job to reinforce the prison system. The prison is the punishment. You just got to make sure they're there when you get there and there when you leave. But some people want to make other people extra, more difficult. And it's because they usually didn't have any control at home. And a lot of times we found out that person was beating his wife or doing different things, because they needed an outlet and they just liked the power. And I had to tell this man one day, you don't have what it takes. You're not going to go any further. And you just if you get fired, you're gonna have to go to the gas station and say soft pack or hard, so figure out which one is which. I was being mean at that time, I ain't gonna lie to you, but I was letting him know you ain't no better than these people. And it ended up being the whole thing, but he was emotionally unstable. But I think that's who they're attracting.
I guess especially the black ICE agents I don't understand. I understand that like the Latino community is not as unified as maybe the black community is. I don't understand black ICE agents because the minute I hear the Supreme Court say that you can profile people, I can't work for an agency that's going out and profiling people because I could be that person.
Then it's all about money.
Money, and some of them are on MAGA's side. I've been talking to them lately, and I'm horrified. I'm like, people that I love, and I'm like, you what?
Well, don't
You
come
think
crying
what?
to us when they turn their back on you because we fuck you,
Yeah.
dude. No,
Exactly. Here's another one I thought was rather scary.
Give one warning, okay?
This is the soundtrack to life in Minneapolis. Word has spread of ICE immigration agents patrolling this area, and a community of activists spring into action.
Get his ass! Get his ass!
This black SUV in front is another car that people suspect of being ICE, and that's why you hear the beeping and the whistles again.
A network of volunteers communicate via a secure messaging platform.
Can I get a plate check on Kilo 77, Florida plate? That one is confirmed. All right.
Modelled on a police dispatch call.
They were both traveling together. The Florida expedition just took a U-turn.
Just right at the lights.
We're riding along with one of them. Within half an hour, we're surrounded by a team of ICE officers. This is our first interaction.
Give one warning, okay?
Those officers just approached the car and they said if we in this car continue to impede them, that they'll break the windows.
We're going to take you out of the vehicle, and we're going to forcefully take you out of the vehicle. We're going to take you out of the vehicle. You're on camera, okay?
A while later, they're back again. Still, no laws have been broken. 3,000 ICE officers have been sent to Minneapolis, some of them with only a couple of months training.
That could have gone a lot worse. It's like, this is what the streets of Minneapolis look like.
It's illegal to put your hands on me. Don't be talking about get me out in no car. I don't understand how this is what's got me. It's that part of the law. This deteriorated, this frustrating me. And then and she's saying they won't look, the lady, I can't get her name out, the pink jacket lady. They wouldn't look at her. And it's because they're shamed. And I mean, their hands might be tied, but they should be shamed because the thing is that you're either with us or you're against us at this point. You either fortify, because when it's all over, when it's all jacked up, you're going to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me play. I forgot. There's this one more. And the question is, and I think this is someone I follow on Blue Sky, who's actually in the government. I've been following him since the first administration. And what he says is you can't reform this. You have to throw the whole department out.
Told you.
Yeah.
This is a preschool, you stupid motherfuckers! Fucking idiots!
A preschool.
It doesn't even look like it's here in America. If I was just to see that, I would think it was in Russia or somewhere like that.
Exactly, right? Oh my God. Okay, so there's a few more things, but I want to get to let August get to her segment. But before any of what we showed or what anybody else have anything to kind of wrap this up.
Fight the power. Like Public Enemy said, fight the power. Hey, I said, fight the power. Everybody I said, fight the power. Yeah.
Get rid of ICE.
They gotta go.
Yeah,
I
there's
think
more
he's
things
right.
that
You
have
can't
to be taken care of, but
Melt ice.
Yeah.
It can't be reformed. It has to be dissolved.
It's contaminated. Disease.
Evaporated.
Right. I want to recommend following international newspapers like Der Spiegel in Germany and Le Monde in France, and papers in the UK.
And the PBS NewsHour. PBS NewsHour is good too.
PBS
There's a lot of stories that they're reporting that we're not seeing in U.S. papers, and they're also reporting on how their reporters are being treated by ICE in Minneapolis. And to hear them call things out for what it is so refreshing compared to what we see with a lot of our media.
Absolutely.
Those papers were the ones, again, I'm going back to civil rights, but this is another movement like that. That's when they got outraged when Emmett Till was killed. And that was a precipice. And they looked at it and they were like, whoa, and the world was outraged. And that caused some movement. So we'll take any support we can get. Thank you
Keep
guys.
in mind, Europe, this is their history, that they know what it was like back when, even though a lot of them are not still alive, but Parentis, or any of you have ever traveled over there, it was a terrible history during, the Nazism. And it reminds me of that so much. It truly does. And
exactly.
We've got to step right now.
Yeah.
Right. Can't let this happen.
Yeah, we got to keep fighting. And one more thing, tying back to the theme, there's this psychologists often call kind of, we're being abused as if we were in an abusive relationship, and which we are at this point. And so I think we just need to remind ourselves that we are mourning, we are grieving, we are going to be angry. So I think we need to be kind to ourselves. We're going to probably feel more tired than we normally do. Sometimes I'm like, oh God, I just feel so damn angry today, and I'm just so tired. So I think we need to be really kind to ourselves and find ways to keep fighting, but also step back and, connect with our families and our friends
and tequila. Just throwing out suggestions.
If you drunk, you won't feel the bullet.
Hey, one or the other. Now, if you got a problem, just stay away from it. But if you don't, get your little sip.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get to August on the Move. August, what do you have for us today?
Hey, everyone. Yes, we are on the move. I'm going to take it from, hey, guys. We're going to take it from a different perspective tonight for August on the Move. So let's just take it to the stage real quickly. FBI searches Atlanta election office. I think Andrea brought it up earlier. Chasing Trump's 2020 vote fraud claims. Enough is enough. Come on. So let me give you the tea on this one. FBI
we don't see it. August, we don't see it.
It's not up yet?
No. Something happened. Something. Little glitch.
Okay, let's see if it come up now. There
it is.
All right, so let me back it down. So FBI searches Atlanta's election office, chasing Trump's 2020 vote fraud claims. It should be voter fraud, but okay, vote fraud claims. They are now, Reuters, you're now speaking like him. Okay, let's see what they're saying. With that, I want you guys to see. So they rolled in the big wagons, and here are the wagons. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So the FBI searches Fulton County. That county is the most African American county there is. Okay. And they searching that election office. The agents took to seize computers and ballots. Trump falsely claims he lost in 2020 due to fraud, which this has, and I want you to be aware, this has already been proven incorrect. But Mr. Trump, trying to get all of his payback, he's claiming otherwise. So he's pursuing Georgia officials to overturn the election, but he can't even overturn the election. Think about it, guys. Even if he gets Fulton County, there is nowhere else. It still wasn't enough votes. So the BS continues. Keep that in mind. Any
Ask
comments?
Elon.
He's wasting good money. I'm tired of all these investigations and the stuff that's done and settled. You wasted our money. We don't have any money, you say, but you keep having all these investigations. And we need to be investigating the pedophiles. That's what we need to be investigating.
Epstein.
In the Trumpstein administration.
Well, I don't trust the FBI under Patel, and my guess is they're going to try to manufacture evidence.
Oh, that's why I said Elon.
Yeah.
I heard that they were putting a PR team on this, coming after them. But they going in there trying to get the voter rolls and all this stuff. I thought we were protected. How are they allowing them to do it?
Trump.
FBI is under Patel.
Yeah. No, everything is.
There's no law. Law's gone.
Everything leads back to Epstein. He has to get us to look away, and we're not looking away.
Right.
There must be a hell of a stuff in the Epstein files that they will kill people for. Think about it, guys. In order to not let that information come alive, it must be something very deep.
Big names.
But also in the news, senators explore off ramps to prevent a shutdown as Democrats lay out the DHS reform. So Democrats are demanding major reforms for DHS agents killed a man in Minnesota. A majority of the government will shut down Saturday if Congress doesn't reach an agreement. But I thought it was 2 people killed. I have a problem with this headline. I really have and I'm just trying to call it out. There were 2 people killed. What say you guys?
That's wrong. They both should have been called out.
And Keith.
Right.
They're going to shut it down because these people don't negotiate. The bunch of I can't say. That. I couldn't get it out without cussing, so I just decided to shut up.
But also keep in mind that they did shut down the government. Well, they sent everyone home. They didn't shut it down, but they did send everyone home. Which, they always play this game. Well,
and they wanted to remind us that ICE is still going to get paid if we shut down. Well, you wasting our money anyway. Let's waste some more of it.
Absolutely. I really want the next thing that's coming to your page, I want to ask you guys how you feel about this one.
Another sycophant.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she came here as a 5-year-old undocumented immigrant.
Menu for the devil.
A 5-year-old undocumented with her parents. And so she siding up with the devil right now too. The devil in the details. Remember the $5 million that you could pay to get a green card?
And just think she had to hold his hand to do it. Ugh.
She married a
Oh,
sex offender, so she might as well. And
yeah.
that's not allegedly, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other side of that is Trump enlists star power of Nicki Minaj to help roll out his investment accounts for kids. So here
For
you have it.
kids.
Yes, people are not hearing the entire story, but we're going to bring it to you. What you need to know: President Donald Trump lauded the creation of investment accounts for America children and encouraged families and companies to take part in the government endeavors while delivering remarks at a day long summit in Washington to officials roll out the so called Trump accounts. Rapper Nicki Minaj joined Trump on stage and declared herself the president's #1 fan. Under the program, the Treasury Department will deposit 1,000 into the accounts for U.S. babies born between January 1, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. They are all set to go live in July. Trump called on employers to match the government's investment in the accounts of children of their employees and announced that Visa will create a new opportunity allowing cardholders to send credit card rewards to the account. What say you guys?
What's the grift? There's a
Uh,
grift.
Yeah.
What is it?
they plan
It's
on
something
getting
on the
rid of
back
Social
end, probably getting
Security.
Visa money.
They're getting rid of Social Security.
I don't
Exactly.
like him.
Exactly. There's always a grift. Always there's some BS
Yeah.
behind it.
And Nicki
And
Minaj, she's for the streets, and they can have her back. And I'm not talking about her country. I'm talking about the streets can have her back, and we don't want her. And like D.L. Hughley said, she don't need to be worried about Donald Trump. She need to be worried about Chris Hansen.
She said Don Lemon. He said Don Lemon.
wow. All right, usually I end on a
Oh,
positive
Don
note,
Lemon.
but
Okay.
unfortunately, today I cannot. I need to definitely bring you the latest coming out of Florida. So, as soon as it comes to the stage, I will definitely bring it to you. It, you click it.
Yeah, I
Well,
saw
we
it.
saw it, then it disappeared.
Okay. Mother arrested after 4-year-old son found dead
It
in St.
disappeared again,
Petersburg
August.
home.
We don't see it.
It's gone
I'll have to
again.
see that
Yeah.
again.
I
You
don't
can
know.
tell me.
Well,
There it is. Oops,
Oh.
disappeared again.
He's playing peekaboo.
There we go.
maybe they don't want the story up.
Story out, yeah.
Maybe
It's
they
there
really don't
now.
want the story, but you really need to hear about it. If you haven't, a teenage girl came home from school to find her 4-year-old brother dead and her mother stabbed, according to police chief Anthony Holloway. So, to go down, that is the culprit. But let's give you some insight into it. A woman has been arrested on first-degree murder charges after her 4-year-old son was found dead in their St. Petersburg home on Tuesday afternoon. Her name is Diane Cullum. She's 43 years old and was booked at the Pinellas County Jail just after 2 p.m. Wednesday. Please note the record lists her address as a home in Tanglewood Drive. According to St. Petersburg police, a teenage girl came home from school around 3:30 p.m. and found her mother holding her 4-year-old brother in a bed. The boy was dead and his mother had self-inflicted stab wounds, police said. I don't know about you, but this is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Not sure if she was on drugs or not. Not sure what the problem was, but I just really wanted you guys to know about this. So when you think all of this that Trump is doing to us, we have real problems in the homes that are going on. And
Yeah.
just hug your kids, hug yourself, and hug others. Back over to you, Kim.
Thank you, August. Yeah,
You're
it's
supposed to
these
have something
stories are
funny,
so.
August.
Sorry, not tonight, guys,
I have a good
because of the title.
Okay.
yeah. We have a little ditty that we're gonna play that Maureen
Uh-oh.
gave us. Well,
Oh, we're gonna.
Well, I just
you're
didn't
not
want to know about
singing.
Grease.
That's
That's
okay.
enough.
No, this should be good.
Yeah, let me pull that up. First, I meant to show you this earlier. I thought this was so spot on. Right. Some rights are fighting for their lives, the rest are in the waiting room. And it's really, if you think about it, that's exactly how it feels right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. On life, the Constitution on life support.
It is, and you can't. And it's like COVID. You can't get in and visit it. You just got to talk to it on the phone, I guess.
Well, not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
Not dead yet.
Yep.
All right. So let me. We may get a copyright ding on this, but we can delete it. But let's hear this. All right.
That's
wow.
Very touching.
Thank you, Bruce Springsteen. Thank you. Thank you.
And it rhymes with January 6th.
Yes, it does.
That's when it started.
You're right. Angry Army vet. He is going to be big mad about this. Good.
Yep.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We love having these conversations with you, even though they are tough conversations. Yeah. A lot of crying, but crying, they say, relieves tension.
Mhm.
Crying relieves tension. So you have to release it.
Oh, Jimmy Kimmel crying every night. Y'all got to say something good, because I can't stand a man crying. A lot of men crying.
Oh, I like men crying. There's something about that. There's something.
Yeah, it's at the heart.
Right. It breaks me down because I know it's serious. Then more serious than I thought. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, everybody. We will see you Friday. Please join us on Friday for our roundtable. All right.
Okay.
See ya. Have a good night.
We the people unite.